What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning into another episode. And today we're going to talk about how this guy right here bailed me out on a tough fall fishing day last year. I'm going to go through the lake, the whole breakdown, my whole fishing trip, and share with you how this little modification right here helped me catch a lot of fish and have a fun afternoon. I should have made this video sooner so you guys can take this out and give it a try, because I know there's been some tough fishing. But I just remembered, okay? So I'm sorry about that. So before we get into that, guys, if you are looking for a used boat, new boat, or just anything on your boat in particular, it could be a trolling motor, it could be electronics, or just winterization of another boat you have, maybe it's a pontoon boat, guys, go check out Futral Marine. I'm going to put the link in the description. Futral Marine helps supports me with what I do. So, guys, I appreciate you. Go check them out. They're the #1 marine dealer in the state of Arkansas, but they can serve you no matter where you are at, no matter where your boating needs are at. Across the country, they can serve you. So, guys, what you see right here is a small swim bait. 3-inch. This is a 3-inch swim bait. And then I cut the tail off and put the tail spinner on it. This is the Keith Poche Humdinger tail spinner. So last year what got me interested on this is I was testing out Nico rigs with different tail spinners on it, okay? Caught some fish, nothing crazy. And I had a day, I was at Broken Bow Lake. The lake was 10 foot low. It was actually, I think, October 20th or 21st. It was a fall day where I don't think there was much wind. It was bluebird skies. Where I started off at was in a creek right by the ramp, Carson Creek, and I graphed, and found some fish, of course, relating to bait out in the middle of the creek. This was first thing in the morning. So I caught one fish on a bladed jig, and that fish I caught spit out a shad that looked just exactly like my bladed jig. It was the Jackhammer, just went blank on it. The spot color, I just went blank. It was the spot remover, that's it, spot remover. And I had a swim bait of this color on it, and that shad looked just like it. But that was my only fish catch. I mean, then you know, guys, I saw this bait, but they're schooling. I didn't share that. I'm talking schooling, like blowing up all around me, just like, you know, them schools. Some people call them boils. Just and only could catch one fish. And I know, guys, you've probably had that experience where you're around schooling fish and you cannot get them to eat. But there's this bait fish, this shad that a bass spit up on my deck, looked exactly like that Jackhammer with this purple swim bait. So then I tried other stuff. I lost a finch eventually on a Little George tail spinner. It was a big fish. Then, guys, I ran around the lake, tried different stuff out, fished mouse, fished mainlay, fished back of creeks. Nothing. I mean, it was bad. And you guys know about Broken Bow Lake. It's easy to catch fish there, typically. I mean, it can still be a lake, but it's a place you go catching. All right, you fish, but there's a lot of catching at this lake. Good lake, a lot of fish in it, a lot of spotted bass, largemouth, there's smallmouth too in it. So I was frustrated, guys. Like, I mean, I think I went like 4 or 5 hours and didn't get a bite. And I was fishing areas where there's been fish at, fished areas I've caught fish at before. And then I decided to run back to Carson because there's all those fish were in there blowing up, schooling. I get back in there and I see them schooling some, you know, and they weren't as big of a school. I saw them, and I started chasing them with a live scope, throwing little swim baits, throwing this, throwing that, nothing. And I saw one of my Nico rigs on the floor with the tail spinner on it. It had the Colorado blade tail spinner. I then took my little swim bait, like I had like this, and I cut the tail off and put one of these willow leaves on it. Guys, after that, I caught a lot of fish. I think I went 3 hours and caught like almost 20, 25 fish. And it was a blast. Now, like I said earlier, they weren't in them giant schools. They were kind of broken up. And I was just out there at the live scope, following them, throwing at them. And it was crazy because after I was catching them with this, I was then picking up other things and throwing at them. And they wouldn't eat it. Okay? I don't know why. I don't know why the tail spinner was the deal that day. This little extra deal. And I talk about it because I kind of forgot about it until I'm making this video. But maybe I should put this on my Alabama rig like this, you know, when you're swimming Alabama rig, or maybe the swim bait. But just to share with you guys that sometimes this little tail spinner, little blade, is it. Even that day, I did try a jig head with a spinner on it, the all underspin, and I didn't get a bite with it. But a recent fishing trip we were catching fish at through swim baits without the underspin, and would not get bit. I threw it with the underspin and they would just take the rod out of your hand. So sometimes this blade does it. So guys, and that's why I try to share with kids and people, you know, when they're chasing schooling fish. I don't like to chase schooling fish, really, okay? Now, this day, just had to, all right? But I really don't. Now, if they're big schools, excuse me, let's say they're big giant schools of 3 to 5 pounders, I'll chase them. Or like this day, when I can't catch a fish any other way, gotta go chase them. So just know if you're at a point to where you can't get them to bite your lures, you gotta figure something out that they can eat. Because even like with me this day, it just was doing this right here. Why? I don't know. Don't know if it's a vibration of it in the water, the flash. I'm not the fish. But I do know that it caught fish that day. And so guys, hopefully you took something from this. Hopefully you and learned something. Share with me if you've ever tried this spinnerbait with a tail spinner on it, as you see right here. This right here is the 6 Sense Divine swim bait. Okay, like I said earlier, Humdinger, Keith Poche tail spinner. Guys, I was throwing it that day on a Denali Covert Light 7.2 worm and jig rod, 7.2 medium heavy worm and jig rod. I was using Sunline FC Sniper 4 carbon. I think it was 12-pound test. And so anyway, hope you guys take this for something, and let me know if you have any experiences as well chasing schooling fish and throwing any unique baits at them. Appreciate it, and we'll see you on the next one.